Hey, well, here I am with another random assortment of objects in front of me to paint. Except this time, I've decided to play with pears. Not the fruit, because those are apples and there's two of them. And also, there's two toasts and two butters, so that's the angle I went into this with. It just goes to show that sometimes it's not as simple as putting some random objects out there and hoping for the best. Setting up the subjects is a challenge and an art form in itself, one could say. And by one could say, I'm saying that, which is why I think you should watch my Skillshare class on arranging an interesting still life. You'll learn some of the skills you'll need to make a good one for yourself. Link in the description below. And like I was saying, still life is deeper than just a bunch of objects. And I don't know, as the sort of still life guy on YouTube, I guess I'm just trying to make it seem less boring. But maybe it is, I don't know. Do people even like traditional art as much anymore? I'm just ranting at this point. Let me kind of explain the feeling that came to me in the vision of painting this. Well, this painting kind of reminds me of an afternoon at a grandparent's house for some reason. And as much as these food items are different from each other, it kind of seems like they go together still. It's a strange feeling. And hopefully you're able to feel something from looking at it. I definitely wanted to translate some of the warmth that I was feeling onto the linen. And I also wanted to try to translate some of that hazy, nostalgic feeling as well with the brushstrokes. I'm not the most abstract painter, but I definitely wanted to loosen up my brushstroke for this one. And something that I've learned from experience is that to make something look realistic, it doesn't have to be painted with a tiny brush down to the last detail. Of course, that is one way to go about it, but another way is to imply that the detail is there through a looser brushstroke. That's the way that I choose to do it, and in the end, it still captures the essence of the objects that I put before me. And it kind of makes the brain fill in the blanks for what is implied being there. I find that to be a good quality to have in paintings, but then again, it's just something that's a matter of taste. If you haven't tried it before or looked at a more loose art style in person, I think it's something you should try. It may change your art viewing or creating life for the better. And coming up here is a great example of what I was talking about. When adding in some of this detail, I'm simply just putting little specks of white in there. Now, when looking at the object itself, there's possibly more detail that goes into it, but with the spots of color there, it implies the detail and the highlight that's there. And the farther you zoom out from looking at the painting, the more it looks as if those are minute details and the painting is a great success. Interesting from up close, having some of the abstraction, and interesting from afar, having the appearance of being a hyper detailed, realistic painting from a distance. Something also very important in still life painting, or actually painting in general, is separation of texture amongst the subjects. Now, why it's more possibly important in still life than in other types of paintings is For example, I have a smooth apple next to bread that has a more rough texture. And also I have that honey jar or honey bottle behind that has a more smooth texture. All of these things juxtaposed next to each other gives us the illusion of realism. Again, the same way little specks of highlights gives us the illusion of detail. It all works to bring the painting to life. My choice of green in the foreground was a very conscious one. The foreground, as you saw earlier, isn't actually green, but everything was kind of looking too similar. There was no separation, so green kind of counteracts that warm orangey red of every other item in the picture. And this is an added bonus. It was my first time painting on a sheet before, so by default I had to tape it to something to paint upright, and these borders just make everything look a lot better as well. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate your support and subscribing, and thanks for watching.